The boardroom smelled faintly of polished wood and expensive coffee. Behind the long glass table sat a leather chair, the CEO's seat, untouched, commanding respect. No one dared to approach it. But that day a small figure did. An orphan girl, no older than 10, wandered into the skyscraper lobby. She had come seeking warmth from the cold outside, clutching a worn teddy bear. A kind receptionist, moved by her innocent eyes, let her sit for a moment while waiting for security. Somehow, the child's tiny feet carried her up to the top floor, right into the boardroom. The heavy chair seemed like a throne. With a shy giggle, she climbed into it, her legs dangling far above the ground. She whispered to her teddy, "Maybe one day, I'll be important too." The door creaked open. The CEO himself entered, powerful, stern, known for his unshakable discipline. The staff froze, expecting anger. But instead of rage, a strange softness filled his eyes. He walked over slowly, crouched to meet her gaze, and asked, "Do you like this chair?" The girl nodded. "It feels safe." Something inside him broke. Memories of his own childhood, lonely nights in foster care, the ache of being unwanted came rushing back. His voice, usually sharp and commanding, fell to a whisper, "Stay beside me." In that instant, the mighty CEO wasn't just a leader of corporations. He was a man rediscovering his humanity, through the eyes of a little girl who only wanted a place to belong. The CEO's whisper, "Stay beside me," shocked everyone in the room. His assistants exchanged bewildered glances, unsure if they'd heard correctly. But the girl, innocent and unafraid, simply nodded and hugged her teddy tighter. "Would you like some hot chocolate?" he asked gently. She nodded again, eyes lighting up. Moments later, a cup arrived, steam curling upward like a small promise of warmth. The board meeting began, but the little girl remained quietly seated, listening to the unfamiliar words, mergers, shares, expansion. She didn't understand much, yet her presence seemed to soften the air. The intimidating CEO, usually cold and calculated, spoke more patiently, more humanly, as though her eyes reminded him to choose compassion over greed. When the meeting ended, he asked the receptionist about the girl. They learned she was from a nearby orphanage, often sneaking out because she longed for something more than crowded dormitories and hand-me-down clothes. That evening, he drove her back himself. As the car pulled up to the orphanage gates, she looked at him and whispered, "This was the best day of my life." His chest tightened. A man who had built empires suddenly felt that all his success meant nothing compared to the sparkle in one child's eyes. As she hopped out, she turned back. "Will you visit me again?" He hesitated. He'd never made promises he couldn't keep. But this time, his heart answered before his mind could stop it. "Yes, I will." That single promise would soon transform both their lives forever. True to his word, the CEO visited the orphanage the following week. Children crowded around, excited to see the man in a suit who brought chocolates and books. But his eyes searched only for her, the little girl from his chair. She came running, her teddy bear in hand. "You really came back," she squealed. He smiled, something he rarely did in public. "I told you I would." As he spent time with her and the other children, the memories he had buried for decades began to surface. He, too, had once been a boy in an orphanage. Alone, forgotten, yearning for someone to believe in him. He remembered how every businessman in a suit seemed like an unreachable dream. And now, standing here as one of them, he realized how far he had come, but how much he had lost along the way. That night, he sat in his penthouse, staring out at the skyline. For the first time in years, he wasn't thinking about profits or deals. He was thinking about her words. "This was the best day of my life." The emptiness in his home felt unbearable. He had wealth beyond measure, but no laughter, no family, no one waiting for him. The next morning, he called his legal team. "I need to know what it takes to become a foster parent." The lawyers paused. "Sir, this is unusual for someone like you." "Unusual," he repeated softly. "Or maybe it's the only thing that makes sense." And so began a journey that would test not just his patience, but his heart. Becoming a foster parent was not as simple as signing a contract. The CEO quickly realized that unlike business deals, love and trust couldn't be bought. The girl, though overjoyed at the thought of staying with him, carried invisible scars. Some nights, she woke screaming from nightmares of being abandoned. Other times, she tested him, breaking things, refusing meals, or sitting silently with tears rolling down her cheeks. One evening, after she slammed her door in frustration, he sat outside her room for hours. Finally, in a shaky voice, she asked, "You won't send me back, will you?" His throat tightened. "No," he whispered through the door. "Not ever." Slowly, the walls she had built around her heart began to crumble. For the first time in her young life, she dared to believe someone meant it when they said they would stay. But the outside world wasn't kind. Headlines erupted. Ruthless CEO turns foster father. Publicity stunt or genuine heart? Investors questioned his focus. Competitors mocked him. He ignored them. For once, his purpose wasn't money, it was love. Late one night, while tucking her in, she looked up at him with wide eyes and asked, "Can I call you Dad?" The word pierced his soul. Decades of loneliness, of pretending not to care, melted in that moment. He nodded, fighting tears. "Yes, sweetheart, you can." And just like that, the orphan girl who once sat in his chair had found her place, beside him and inside his heart. Months passed. The girl flourished under his care, her laughter echoing through his once empty home, her drawings decorating the walls, her presence filling the silence. One day, during a major corporate presentation, she slipped into the boardroom again. This time, no one dared to stop her. She climbed into the chair beside his, smiling proudly. Whispers filled the room. Some rolled their eyes, but he didn't care. Placing a hand on her shoulder, he began his speech. For the first time, he spoke not of profits but of purpose. "Success," he said, "isn't measured by numbers. It's measured by the lives we touch." This little girl reminded me of that. And from this day forward, our company will dedicate a portion of its profits to fund education and homes for children like her. Children who deserve a future. The room fell silent. Even the skeptics couldn't hide the lump in their throats. Afterward, his board members approached, some with tears in their eyes, admitting how moved they were. But the real reward came later that night, when the girl handed him a folded piece of paper. Inside was a drawing, the two of them holding hands, smiling in front of a house. Above it, in shaky handwriting, she had written, "Home is not a place, it's a person. You are my home." He hugged her tightly, realizing she had given him something no empire could buy: family.